And here we go.
Suggs for the win! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Jesperson, half-court lead for the win! Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship! And the next stop on the Purdue Redemption Tour is the Final Four!
Hello, friends. Welcome back into the D1 and Done pod. This episode brought to you by the official Mountain West and SEC correspondents, the benefactors of the pod, the Hagen Hall boys. Make sure you give us a follow on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages. It is D1 and Done pod. You can also email us, d1anddonepod@gmail.com. As we are ready to roll for March Madness, I'm Robbie Donahoe, locked in with Nick Mills and Dusty Mills. This is the greatest time of year. We have a physical bracket that we can actually see, feel, enjoy. It's literally sitting here blank next to me because I filled one out earlier today and I don't like it. And that's when you really and truly know it is March Madness time, when you've already filled out a bracket and you don't like what you have put together. So we are excited. It's going to be a great show. This is our big bracket show where we're going to go through each matchup, give you our picks, maybe some things to watch for. We have metrics, we have takes, we have numbers, and eventually we will get to San Antonio for a national champion. But first, Nick, I want to turn it over to you first, and I want you to officially announce who won our annual conference tournament championship pick competition.
First off, hello, boys. We're here. We've made it. Like you, Robbie, I have a physically printed bracket next to me. It's just so fun to have and just look at all that stuff. So excited to be here, boys. That being said, Robbie, you said the official standings for our conference tournament predictions thing.
Almost official.
Points. Well, so these are unofficial, official point totals. And the reason I say it, Robbie, because it was a close one. The grand winner of this year is our host himself, Robbie Donahoe, with 118 points. Beat out Dusty by 2 points. Dusty got hot. He had like 6 straight conference winners at one point. Dusty
I don't think we've ever seen that. That was incredible. Like, that was amazing.
Insane run. But Robbie, you got hot at the end. Congratulations again, Robbie. Again, I feel like Jake wins this every year, so I'm glad someone else took it from him. That's probably why Jake's not here today. But Robbie, nicely done, sir. Me and Jake got annihilated. It was a 2-man race the whole time. Well done.
I don't think it's ever been that big of a discrepancy between first and last. Like, there was a stretch where Jake was looking rough for a while there.
Yeah, and then I kind of joined him. Yeah, for the full scores for everyone, as right now, it's Robbie 118, Dusty 116. Drop off, me 98, Jake 88. So yeah, 30 points between Jake and Robbie.
Wow.
And I was 18 back of second rather. So yeah, Doc, you guys truly know ball, unlike me and Jake, evidently. So what does that say about us? And I might be next with Jake. So congratulations, Robbie and Dusty.
Thank you. It was a good run. Well, let me. It's
be so funny why I double check later and turns out Dusty won.
That would be hilarious.
That's what I'm waiting on.
Well, remember, the first down line is always unofficial. So we don't know for sure if it really is, the first down marker.
It's like the Kentucky Derby, how they give the unofficial time.
Yes.
So I can check. So we're in that stage right now.
Correct. So on top of that, if you listen to our preview show at the beginning of the season, I kind of shocked Dusty and Nick. They weren't prepared for this because they didn't read the rundown. I will say this. It was on the rundown. But we actually picked the conference regular season champion as well at the start of the season. And we put, I think, a steak dinner on the line or something like that for whoever was able to pick the most winners. Now, I think we kind of did the same thing with the conference tournament picks as well, but I'm not going to hold that one against you because we always do that. So this year, between the three of us, in third place was Dusty with 6 correct.
Another medal.
I mean, there's 3 podium spots, so yes. In a tie with Dusty for technically second, so not third, was Nick Mills with 6 correct.
Darn it.
So that means
This is BS.
yours truly won the competition with 7 correct conference regular season champions. So you guys tied for second with 6, and I won with 7. And the winner for it, do you know who won it for me? And I'm just going to go ahead and find a shirt and buy it, was the Mocs of Chattanooga winning the SoCon. That is what put it over the top for me. That got it done. If you want to run through the list again, you can go back and listen to the show. A couple great ones I should acknowledge. Nick taking Akron to win the MAC was a great pick. That one got through. Dusty taking Montana. He and I split the Big Sky because it was tied with conference regular season champions. I got VCU out of the A10. Nick taking Memphis out of the American was a big one there. And also should mention, Dusty nailed the SEC. He got Auburn. While Nick took Kentucky, I took Alabama. You guys both got the Big 12. Dusty got Michigan State out of the blue from the Big 10, and then also took St. John's. So Dusty hit some big ones. And then I kind of sprinkled in the surprises here and there, where I got neither of us got the West Coast Conference because St. Mary's won it. Nick and I took Gonzaga. Dusty took San Francisco. No one got the Patriot because we all took Colgate. I'm trying to find the other one. We all got the WAC with Grand Canyon. So the big one for me, so it was the SoCon with Chattanooga, and then the MAC, I took Quinnipiac, and that was the other one that pushed me over the top too. So none of us were even remotely close to getting the Horizon. That wasn't even a challenge. Like I took Northern Kentucky. Nick, you took Green Bay. And Dusty took IU Indianapolis.
Hey, really?
Yeah. None of us had the Big West. Dusty had UC Santa Barbara. I had UC Riverside. Nick, you took Long Beach. Nick, you and I both got Big South because we had High Point. So it was pretty spread out. We actually did a pretty good job at being even all the way to the end. It was just the SoCon and the MAC that put it over the top for me. So this is obviously a good sign for me because that means I'm also going to win the best bracket for March Madness, as we well know. This is how things lead to it. So
Robbie,
that's where we are right now.
I mentioned I was so excited at the top of the show and realizing you've won both of our conference challenges. My excitement has dwindled a little bit, I must admit.
I would like my steak medium rare, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll move on. Okay, we have a bracket. Let's talk about said bracket. Before we get into previewing games, Dusty, just give me your initial thoughts on what you think, or what your initial reaction to seeing the bracket. I know everyone wants to talk about North Carolina, but was there anything else that really stood out from the bracket reveal on Sunday?
Well, first of all, can I settle a long-standing basketball debate? I know this is a college show,
okay,
but there's a rumors that Jordan's flu game was actually a hangover.
Uh-huh.
If he felt like this and went and dropped 30 plus in the NBA Finals, he is the greatest basketball player to ever live.
Yeah, you're probably right.
4 days of nationals, not for the weak. Let me tell you. Drink responsibly.
No. Especially with those heavy hitters that you guys have going to where you're going. So
yeah, it was dangerous. One of my former Kentucky teammates even woke up on Saturday and he was like, "I just have to get out of here."
This is nothing like a Billy Gillespie practice after a loss. Let's be honest.
Well, we drink at those with our coach.
Oh, yeah. Fair. Okay.
Initial reactions, I think the crazy thing is the SEC actually getting 14 teams. That still blows my mind. Yeah. The bubble's the bubble. Every year there's going to be teams that deserve to be in, teams that don't. I did see that the West Virginia governor is going to investigate the NCAA selection committee.
God.
Which is fantastic. I am surprised on name recognition. I am surprised that IU didn't get in, as I'm still talking about the bubble.
Yeah.
Because, again, there's a human element to it. Everyone knew it was Kelvin's last season and a passionate fan base. And they'd be playing next door in Dayton, right?
Hold on. You said Kelvin Sampson. You mean Ryan?
Oh, jeez. Yes. Sorry, Coach Sampson. Mike Woodson. So, besides that, I thought the seeding was pretty good. I was surprised Michigan wasn't higher after winning the Big Ten tournament, even though I've been crapping on them for about 2 months now.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing that really floored me at all. I think it's awesome. It's Bill Self versus John Calipari.
Amazing.
And then hopefully the winner gets Patino.
Patino, incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
truly amazing.
But yeah, so that's basically mine. Pretty general, but again, I don't think anything stood out a ton. I think it'll be interesting to see UConn, who is not the team they've been the last 2 years. Kind of stinks for Florida that they probably get them in the second round. So, but Florida's playing better than one in the country right now. So that's where I'll leave that for now.
Okay. I'll kind of jump into the seeding part of it since you brought it up. First and foremost, I think we can all agree, and we said it on in our last show before this one, North Carolina did not deserve to be in. One quad, and I think Seth Davis kind of alluded to it. The only reason why they're in is their non-conference strength of schedule, which if that's the end-all be-all decision, that's bullcrap.
Why would you not just go play every good team in America?
Exactly.
If you go 1-15, they don't care.
Well,
it doesn't make sense.
In the chair, they emphasized their quad 2 record at one point. Like, when are we talking about quad 2 records?
Nobody cares that. Like, Xavier and Texas, I'm okay with because I think they ended the season. Texas, not so much. Xavier, yes. IU should have been in. West Virginia definitely should have been in.
God.
Yes. Like, that's West Virginia's not even a question. But what's even crazier is if George Mason would have beaten VCU or if UAB would have beaten Memphis, we're not having this conversation because North Carolina's out.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think.
Yeah, you would think. But it's a great question. Yeah, it's a great point. But,
you know what's funny about West Virginia, real quick? Nick and I watched the selection show together when we got home from Nashville. And I think, Nick, you actually said out loud at the very end, like, we were so stunned that West Virginia wasn't in that when they showed the last 4 out, Nick was like, oh, my gosh, West Virginia. Because it was almost like, did we just miss them on, like, the 10 line or something?
It always feels like there's one of those teams that's like, wait, they're not in? How are they not in? Wasn't that last year with Texas, I think? It was like you were shocked that Texas wasn't in, or Texas was in, I think.
Texas A&M maybe years ago?
I can't remember who it was. But
it was also wild, too, that the first region they showed was the South. So we knew North Carolina was in like 5 minutes in. Right. And then it started getting the conversations going of, you know.
Well, we were
jumping to West Virginia, too, here real quick. So the other thing they reference, again, I know the committee chair, by the way, elephant in the room, he is the UNC AD, as has been pointed out many times, and a lot of people said it in the moment. Again, bracket matrix, I reference it all the time. It's the first time ever they've had a unanimous team not make it. They are 111 for 111 on the bracket matrix. And the other thing the committee chair said that made no sense. Again, I know he says a lot. Sometimes he says things that maybe wish he had back. He referenced the Tucker DeVries injury as a reason. He's not playing since December 6th.
They haven't had him all season. Like, that was the biggest crock of bullcrap ever. Like, that's a terrible reason. If that's the reason, then why is Iowa State a 3 seed? They should have been like an 8 seed then because they don't have Keshawn Gilbert.
Why is Memphis a 5 seed? Tyrese Hunter's in a boot right now.
Yeah.
Like, Gary Parrish made good jokes. Like, they might as well reference that Bob Huggins isn't a coach anymore. Like, what does he stop at this point? Like, those two things just really stood out to me. Again, West Virginia wins at Kansas, home Iowa State, beat Louisville. There's another one, maybe beat Oklahoma too. Again, they had 5 quad one wins, more quad one wins without Tucker DeVries than UNC did all year. It's one of the biggest misses I think we've ever seen, quite frankly.
And I also love that the AD's name is Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba. Mm-hmm. Shocking.
And shall him bring up the vice chair up there as a human shield. That was a nice move by him.
Gosh, seriously. So it did not help. I mean, West Virginia, yes, 100% should have been in. And you will never push us off of that. It did not help that they lost their first game of the Big 12 tournament to Colorado. That really hurt. That did not help their cause. Same thing with IU. IU losing their first game to Oregon did not help at all. And then once we saw North Carolina was one of the last teams in, I was like, and Seth Davis specifically mentioned on the show, well, it sounds like the committee looked like they used the non-conference strength of schedule as a big reason why they put North Carolina in. When they said that, I immediately said IU's out because IU's non-conference strength of schedule was so bad. But that should just, like, your non-conference strength of schedule should be important. Yes. I'm not denying that. But if that's the reason why you're putting North Carolina in, like, you got to spin it better than that because that doesn't track at all.
Especially if you're not winning those games in non-con.
Yes. You can schedule as many of those. You can schedule all of them. Schedule as many as you want. If you're only winning one, come on. What are we doing? And the only reason why I put Xavier in is because that one quad one win they had was at Marquette. North Carolina doesn't have a good road win anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it does not make sense. It is sketchy as heck that the selection chairman committee guy is the AD at North Carolina. Like, and even if he says, where were you at with the discussion in North Carolina? Oh, I wasn't in the room. I get it. Fine. That's fine. Yes, I understand you have to say that. But there's a human element to this, and you can't tell me that the selection committee did not kind of want to put North Carolina in because the AD is on the committee. That had to have been at least somewhat in the back of their minds when they were deciding.
If nothing else, is an awful look. I think we can all admit that. Whether how much influence they had or not is just to be a West Virginia fan and have to go through that. I could not imagine. I mean, IU fans are upset because we're around them.
Right.
I can imagine West Virginia fans. God bless them. And especially year they had to lose Tucker DeVries year one. And gosh, that's tough. That really is.
West Virginia fans, if I ever see you around, first drink is on me because that's awful.
Except he probably doesn't.
We're hopefully not him.
Another thing to add, I'm sure you may have mentioned the same guy. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Is the whole financial incentive as well. So for those that don't know, the old Bubba got a $100,000 bonus for North Carolina making the tournament.
Yep.
So there's a little fraud action happening.
Nice job, Bubba. Well done.
That boy, Bob. He told the whole committee drinks on me.
Yeah.
Sure did. I will point out, and before I go, Nick, to you for your initial reactions, you mentioned the Michigan seeding. I said it before the show 2 weeks ago. The committee does not care what happens in these conference tournaments. After the first or second game, they don't care at all. They did this to Iowa a couple years ago. I told you about my rant in 2009 with Purdue. Purdue got to be a 5 seed when they won it. This is the same exact thing. Michigan is playing as one of the best teams in the country right now, and they put them as a 5 seed against one of the best 12 seeds in the history of the tournament. It does not matter. Like, that's why there's no incentive to win these conference tournaments unless it's just for pride. Your seeding does not matter. How does Michigan get 2 seeds below Wisconsin? I'll be honest. How does Michigan get a 5 seed and Purdue gets a 4? That makes no sense. Michigan ran Purdue out of the building on Friday night in Indy. That's dumb. That's stupid. And then that seeding I had a problem with. I had a major problem with Louisville being an 8 seed. That's ridiculous.
Agreed.
Like that's a 5 seed, at worst a 6 seed. And then Oregon is a 5 seed? Really? That Oregon team is not great. They peaked really early. Like, I thought Oregon was going to be a 7 seed at best, not a 5 seed. Other than that, I tried to nitpick across the board with the other seeds. Maybe Gonzaga probably should have been a 6 or a 7. I don't know if an 8 is truly fair for them. Outside of that, I do think the committee did a pretty good job across the board then if you take out those things. But it's those glaring errors that really are hard to get past for me. So, Nick, your other initial thoughts? Anything else that jumps off for the bracket?
You have a couple. At first, I had the same teams as you. Michigan, Louisville were the ones that stood out to me. I thought Oklahoma getting 9 seemed a little high for them.
That was high too. Yeah.
The other one, which by the way, I'm sure we'll get to in the South. Auburn, that's the one overall seed. Potentially, to play Louisville in Lexington is that's quite a prize for them. Just a couple other things. I already mentioned the whole UNC thing. Oh, another thing off the top, I love the Gumbel tribute at the start.
That was great. That was great.
In honor of Gumbel, they got right into it. After they gave him the tribute, That's exactly how Greg Gumbel.
CBS is the best at doing sports next to Fox, kind of Fox. CBS does it right, man. It's CBS and Turner. They always do a phenomenal job with everything they do. They're like, we're not going to, there's no frills and thrills here. We're just getting this thing done. They did great. And
one last thing I would add, I think other than Duke, I think every one seed has like a spicy 8-9 team that people are going to pick them against. Like Florida, UConn, Dusty mentioned, Houston, Gonzaga, as you mentioned, and Auburn, Louisville, and Lexington. So those are just initial things that stood out. And you mentioned how it's very apparent the weekends of these conference tournaments don't matter at all. And the other one more thing you mentioned as well, again, Michigan's got to Denver, and I thought Maryland having to go Seattle was a tough price for them to pay too. So, those are kind of just my initial takeaways from the committee.
Grand Canyon is going to have a home court advantage when they play Maryland. That game is going to be absolute chaos. If you watched
Seattle. You said Seattle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you remember watching that first round Grand Canyon game last year, like take that up a notch. It's just going to be pure paranoia for that game. Maryland is the super. We'll get to that game. Never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're getting ahead of myself. Okay, let's go game by game. And I want to start first before we go game by game. I want to give you the title, the blueprint. So if you just want to find out who you want to pick for your national champion and then flip it off, go right ahead and you can move on. So I do this every year before we get started with our tournament picks. Okay, the title blueprint. Every national champion in the Ken Pom era has been top 57 offensive efficiency, top 37 defensive efficiency. All except one were top 21 in offense. And we all know that one was the UConn team in 2010. So we got that out of the way. So
2014, I believe, for the record.
14, I'm sorry, not 10. I'm sorry. The teams that would take out would be, and some of these could be potential Final Four picks that are a bit shocking. Missouri, they are 73rd in defense. BYU, 68 in defense. Kentucky, we kind of not surprising, 56th in defense. Purdue is 63rd in defensive efficiency, so they're not a national title pick. 41 is where Illinois is, just outside. The shocker, do not pick St. John's to win the national championship. They are 65th in offensive efficiency going into the tournament. So, because they're number one, or I think number one or number two in defense. I can't remember. I think Houston might be one. They might be two. But and I'm actually going to throw another one thing out at St. John's that hurts their cause too. No team has ever won the title after losing their first conference tournament game. So that includes UCLA, Georgia, and Texas A&M are teams you should not be picking to win at all. You'll remember Tubby Smith is the only first time to win at his first year at the school when he did with Kentucky. So that would put out Michigan, Louisville, and VCU as teams you shouldn't pick. No team higher than an 8 seed has made the national title game. So don't pick anything past 9 or 16 to be in the national championship game. No champion came from a league with less than 3 tourney teams. So Gonzaga, St. Mary's, those teams are out. Here's the shocker. And this one I got from Ryan Hammer on Twitter and Instagram. He's an awesome college basketball follow. No top 2 seed who started the season unranked has ever made the Final Four. That includes Michigan State and St. John's. So you need to keep Michigan State and St. John's out of your Final Four just completely based on history. If you want to buck the trend and be like, screw history, I'm going to put them in, go right ahead. But history is not on your side, and we've seen history kind of tell the tale of the tournament in the past. So you have 6 teams, probably 5, that you can pick to win the national championship this year. Because remember, every champion was in the top 12 of the Week 6 AP poll. So those teams are Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, Duke, Florida. Dusty didn't want Florida to be said. So Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, Duke, Florida. The 6th team is Iowa State. Now, Iowa State without Keyshawn Gilbert, I'm not sure you can really throw them in there. So I would say there's 5 teams you can pick to win the national championship this year. 4 are from the SEC. So do with that what you will. That is your title blueprint as we go into March Madness.
Robbie, I love you do this every year. It's so fascinating to hear all those different stats. Especially, I'd never heard that one before about Michigan State, St. John's.
I had neither.
This sounds like some fake news. I'll do my own research. I'll do the Aaron Rodgers method. I'm not sure I like that stat, Robbie, but I appreciate those as always. Again, it's very fascinating. It's the 4 SEC teams who played in the semifinals on Saturday plus Duke.
That's right.
So, yeah, very, very fascinating.
Not surprising indeed. I should mention no team has ever won the title when losing the first game of their conference tournament. 3 of the last 5 national champions finished in the semis of their conference tournament. So UConn has kind of bucked that trend in the past or last year too. So something else to consider and throw in as well.
It flip-flops. It goes alternates. You either win your conference tournament and then, like you said, the other year they lose in the semifinals. So
that would that would throw Auburn in that mix because Auburn lost in the semis. Alabama lost in the semis. So Auburn and Alabama, maybe if it goes back and forth, maybe we need to go with one of those two. So Again,
well, to be fair though, they lost in semis to other like top 5 teams.
Correct. Yes.
It's like they're upset by the 7th seed in the conference. So that I would say the SEC changed that a little bit this year, a little bit of tailoring it, but yes.
Yes. All right. Now let's get to the games. Any chance that Auburn is going to have any troubles with Alabama State or St. Francis? By the way, the St. Francis story is awesome. The run that they made to get to the tournament, pretty incredible. So are we good with Auburn moving on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I just real quick, as big picture on them. Do you guys have any cause concern at all about they've lost 3 or 4? You make of that at all? Anything at all?
Slightly, yeah. Just because they didn't end the season strong. So we'll get to them in more detail later on. But I cannot believe they might end up playing Louisville in Lexington.
Yeah,
like that is holy smokes. That is a rough run. I think so. Let's move on to Louisville Creighton. The numbers kind of favor Creighton right now. I think Louisville's going to win this one. I trust the way Pat Kelsey's teams have played, and I trust Chucky Hepburn in this tournament. Like this feels like a pretty solid Louisville pick here for me. I don't know about what do you guys think?
It's always tough because like these spicy 8-9 games, usually the one everyone wants to win, usually they lose. But there's so many of them this year. I don't know if that really applies. Yeah, I think Louisville, they don't lose. I don't like it. I really want Creighton to win because I think Kalkbrenner versus Broom being an awesome matchup. I'll go Louisville.
Okay. Dusty, I know you're a resident Creighton hater.
I'm taking Creighton.
Yep.
I do hate them. They are one of my preseason Final Four. And, it's their 5th straight tournament appearance, which is good for a school like that. I know they kind of have been a solid firm for 3 decades.
Sure.
So with that said, you do have a very, very veteran team with, you mentioned Kalkbrenner, Ashworth, obviously, who I'm pretty sure has a kid and is married.
I think so. I know he's married. I don't know if he has a kid, but
he
he's definitely
looks like
married,
he's 37. And it was who they got hurt for them? Isaacs.
Pop Isaacs. Yeah, they could have really used him.
Yeah, I think that kind of changed the course of their season. But in this game, as soon as it came out, I immediately thought Creighton versus Auburn. So I'm sticking by that.
Let's move down to this pod, this regional might be the best in terms of just matchups in the entire first round of the tournament. Michigan, UC San Diego, Texas A&M, Yale. Those are some heavy hitter matchups. So let's start with Michigan, UC San Diego, and I'm going to throw out a stat at you here. UC San Diego leads the country in turnovers forced, one of the best in the country in turnover margin. Michigan is one of the worst in the country in turnovers. They turned the ball over, I think, 18 times in that win over Maryland.
Sheesh.
Take that with it what you will. I will also throw out the fact that the last time you saw a Big Ten tournament run, kind of like what Michigan did, was Iowa, and they got a rough 5-12 matchup. And what happened there? There you go. I will give all the credit in the world to Dusty May. That team is playing so freaking well right now. They're basically winning without a true point guard. Trey Donaldson's kind of that guy, but it's amazing. The only thing that concerns me in this matchup with UC San Diego is they don't have a guy above 6'9", so they're not a very big team. And Michigan can rebound when Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden want to. But the fact this is out west, the turnovers have been a problem with Michigan in the past. UC San Diego, historically one of the best 12 seeds we've ever seen. I'm actually going with the Tritons to beat Michigan here.
You laid it all out, Robbie. It's just a heck of a match between all the turnover thing, and you said just this 2 7-footers on Michigan versus this team. It could not be more like a perfect, more funky matchup.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick them so bad, but I'm going Michigan. I think they're going to ride. I think they will run out of steam, but I think in this matchup, I still do favor them.
That's fair. Dusty?
I am taking the upset here.
Okay.
I've seen there's a great story. They are fun to watch. I've had them on a couple times. Can say I know a ton. I did have to look up their best player's name because I love it. It's Anawaniwa Tate Jones.
He's awesome.
Average 19 a game from I looked up New Zealand maybe. So
I'll look up the roster one more time. But yeah, he's
we've been talking about this tournament having. I can't remember the stat or your prediction you gave a couple weeks ago, Robbie, about how many first round lower seeds would actually win or higher seeds. I don't even know what is definitely what.
Yeah, I remember I said 10 or more. I don't know if we're gonna get there.
Well, there's my first one.
Okay. Yeah, Ani Waniwa Tate Jones, 6'6" from New Zealand. He is fun to watch. That UC San Diego team is just crazy fun. Remember, this is only their 5th year of playing Division I men's college basketball. Pretty incredible. And they earned their way to be here, because that Big West was great this year. And I hate that UC Irvine didn't make it in.
I know.
I was really hoping they were going to make it. So, okay. 2 of us 3 take the Tritons to win their first round game against Michigan. Is anyone taking John Polikitis and the Yale Bulldogs over Texas A&M? Because this is almost the exact same spot last year they were in when they played Auburn. It is tempting, but I don't know if I can pull the trigger. What do we think?
I'm the same way. It's such stupid logic. I just can't imagine Yale winning this game back years. I know it's not a great analysis, but I just think A&M, they're one and done in the tournament. I think they're just a weird team to 1-1. I think this is actually a pretty good matchup for A&M. Give me
so too.
Buzz World.
That's kind of where I am as well. So yeah, it feels like a good matchup. I will say if Yale was so Yale already played Purdue this year. If Purdue played Yale again, Yale would win. I'm saying it right now. I think Yale would be the better team. And if Yale played Arizona, I think Yale would get Arizona, because the Wildcats against Ivy League teams just suck. I don't know why. Dusty, are you taking A&M or Yale?
I'm taking A&M. I do think this has the vibes of the game where Yale's up like 4 late. And, I don't know, it's going to be Wade Taylor comes up and just hits some wild shot that everyone's going to basically see how the nation's going to – that's my prediction. Wade Taylor, big end of the game. They can make a comeback on Yale. But I see A&M coming out of this game just not taking it too seriously. And next thing you know, you get slapped your mouth and it's 12-5, and now now you're in panic mode. You can watch the clock of your season tick down. But I'll stick with A&M.
We're going to focus a lot on Wade Taylor. We're going to focus a lot on John Polikitis, and they're awesome. Don't forget about Bezenbang. He's one of the best defenders that Yale has, and you're going to get to learn this. He looks like he's 28 years old, but Nick Townsend of Yale is like the 6'7" power forward linebacker out there. He's a dude. So I agree. I'm going to take A&M too, just because I don't see Yale doing it again. But Yale would be a popular upset pick here. Let's move on to Ole Miss. They're going to play the winner of San Diego State, North Carolina. I have no real data to back this up, but the last time that we were so against one of these first 4 teams making it in was UCLA, and they went to the Final Four. I have the weirdest feeling that we are about to see North Carolina make a run here, because I feel like we do it every year with a team that says, oh, they have no business being here. And they just go on this historic, crazy run where they just shock everyone. What thoughts?
Rob, there's a couple examples of that. So 06 George Mason was an at-large bid. People forget that all the time. Not a lot of people are happy about it. You mentioned 2011 VCU. Another one gets forgotten about is 2016 Syracuse. A lot of people didn't think Dayton.
Ooh, good one.
Dayton, but they got moved to a 10. They thought that was a bad seed.
That's right.
The Final Four. Right, so we've seen this plenty of time where I was like, how does this team would get in? And then next thing you know, they win a couple games. Especially, Robbie, I don't know if you had the stat. First 4 teams won at least one game in every year except one, I believe.
I was going to wait to bring this up, but now that you mention it, okay, this is a great time to do it. Since 2011, a first 4 team has advanced to the round of 32 in every tournament except 2019. That continued last year when Colorado made it to the round of 32. Very nearly got Marquette made it to the Sweet 16. So each of the last 3 years, we've had at least one team from the first 4 make it to the round of 32. The only time that doubled up was in 23 when Pitt made it to the round of 32, and there's some upstart school that was a 16 seed that won. I can't remember who they were, but we're not going to talk about that. So, yes, but every part of my mind, I love this Ole Miss team. I think they're great. Part of me wants to put them in the Final Four, to be honest with you. Like, they looked great in Nashville. There's something pulling me back in to take North Carolina here, because, again, that thing that you mentioned, Nick, and I'm in the same way, we dog these teams that shouldn't be there, and then they come out and surprise everyone. North Carolina has the talent to do that, but do they have the mental ability to be able to handle it? I don't know if you saw them when they got put into the tournament. They did not look super excited after they were shocked to see their name. Like, RJ Davis was the only one that looked like he even cared that it even happened.
That being said, this game gives me Virginia, Colorado State vibes last year, first 4. I think San Diego State wins in Dayton over UNC.
Ooh.
Ole Miss. they've been in the tournament before. The Aztecs have tournament experience.
Yeah.
Maybe should not got in over Boise State. That's a discussion. A different day. Give me the Aztecs to the next round.
I like it. Okay. Damn it. I'm sticking with Ole Miss. I'm sticking with Ole Miss. I'm going Rebels. I like Chris Beard's teams in the tournament. They tend to do pretty well. So I'm sticking with Ole Miss. I'm sticking with their guard play. Matthew Morrell, Dia, Brakefield. Like, those guys are really good. They can guard. I'll take the Rebels. Dusty, I'm curious what direction you're going here.
I'm going the same way as Nick.
Okay.
I think San Diego State puts North Carolina out of their misery and just get out of my bracket. Just get out of here. And then my only fear of Ole Miss is I feel like they have scoring lapses. And
yeah, they do.
In a one-game sample against a San Diego State team who has, Nick Boyd, who played in the Final Four from Florida Atlantic. I just think they have one of those 4.5-minute scoring droughts, kind of like, I say the opposite of Yale and A&M. And you have a veteran team in San Diego State. I like San Diego State to get to the round 32.
I mean, we've said it before, San Diego State's one of the few, is the only Mountain West team you really has shown that you can ever trust. So as much as we love the Mountain West, San Diego State has been the team that has always been really good. To the 3-14 matchup, Iowa State Lipscomb. I think all of us would take Iowa State in this instance. In the pace versus adjusted net rating from Ryan Hammer, he specifically points out there were 3 teams that could be very dangerous, and one of those teams is Lipscomb. That's a team that doesn't mind playing slow, but can get up and down a little bit. They're like right smack dab in the middle of net rating and pace. And it kind of fits to playing against Iowa State's style of play. And Iowa State not having Keyshawn Gilbert hurts them massively. That is one of the most underrated. Like, I feel like that story kind of is going under the radar right now. Like, not enough people are talking about it. So part of me would honestly, I might take the upset just to see if I can nick an upset pick in the first round. I think Iowa State's still going to win, but I think Ole Miss is going to make it to the Sweet 16 out of this. So I'll go and say it. I'll say Lipscomb. Even though Bison is supposed to be plural as it is, I'm going to take the Bisons. I think they fit the pace, they fit the net rating. Everything just kind of lines up where I think Lipscomb is gonna make this interesting, and Iowa State not having Keyshawn Gilbert is gonna really hurt them.
Yeah, their ceiling is significantly lower without him. Not to say there's some other great players. That's just such a big loss. That being said, still think of enough firepower in the first round to get past here. Give me Iowa State. I think I'll go against you, Robbie. I think comfortably in this game, Iowa State.
Okay, fair.
Lipscomb has the Bisons, as you said, has won 11 of the last 12 since February 1st. But they did play 2 Power 5 teams this year, Arkansas and Kentucky, and lost by a combined 45 points in those 2 games. Yep. I know teams can change, and they're a good 3-point shooting team, but I will not take the upset here.
By the way, you mentioned their 3-point shooting. Their player of the year average is 20-8, Jacob Anasovic. He is awesome. All 5 starters have made at least 30 3-pointers this year. So they're not a big team and they're not a deep team, but man, they can shoot it. So if they get hot, it may be kind of like a situation where you rely heavily on Curtis Jones scoring. If he's not giving you some scoring, what's Momcilovic going to do? What is Tamin Lipsey going to do? I'm with you guys. I think Iowa State's probably going to end up winning, but I'm just going to go ahead and take a crack and see if Lipscomb can pull this one off. I am curious what you guys think about this New Mexico Marquette game, because nothing has shown me Marquette is a team you can trust, and New Mexico is the exact same way after they get through the first game. Are we going to put our trust in Donovan Dent and Steve Alford for the Lobos to make this happen for the Mountain West?
Robbie, there's 2 first-round games I struggle as the 2 games I'm most excited for. This is one of them. It is Donovan Dent versus Cam Jones in the first round. This is an awesome matchup. You mentioned 2 teams who really need to break through in March, and God, I was cussed right there, and we got them matched up together. So I'm so excited for this game. I think it's going to be whoever wins this can be a trendy upset over my Spartans in the round 32. I think I'll go. Gosh, this one's so tough. Give me Cam Jones and Marquette. I don't know how they can get in that. But I'm so freaking excited for this basketball game, Robbie.
I am as well. Dusty?
New Mexico, Marquette's trending down, and I just don't see a change at this point.
We got to stick with our Mountain West love. I will say, I think Marquette matches up better with Michigan State than New Mexico. So if you're a Spartan fan, you really want to cheer for New Mexico, I think, because Marquette can play quick and they can get up and down. That's what Michigan State wants to do. And Marquette's a very tough physical team.
And yeah, don't forget 2 years ago in the round 32, when Markel's a 2 seed, they were upset by Michigan State. So
that's right.
I don't know if you really want to see them again at that point.
I would not either. So I'm going to go against my better judgment. I'm going to take Marquette. I really don't want to. As Dusty, you mentioned it, they're trending downward. They have not been playing well as of late. But I want to see the Michigan State Marquette matchup. That's part of the reason why I'm going to pick Marquette to win this one. Bryant was kind of the team that some slotted in to be a team that could, if they were running into Purdue, everyone was saying, "Oh, Bryant's going to beat Purdue." Earl Timberlake, yeah, okay, I get it, fine. One of the biggest things that Bryant brings to the table is they play crazy fast and they protect the rim, even though they're not a very big team. So I think Michigan State will end up winning going away. But don't be surprised if at halftime that Michigan State's only like up 4 or 5. I don't know what you guys think about this matchup, but I think it's a lot closer than people will actually realize going into it.
Yeah, shout out Bryant. Again, they broke through, won the American East. They killed Maine, or won convincingly in their conference championship. That program's seen become really good over the last couple of years, so shout out to them. That being said, it's Izzo. We're here, Robbie. I think they win comfortably.
Oh, boy.
But every year, though, a 15 or 16 seed almost wins. I'm not sure which one is going to be this year, but I don't think it's going to be this one. I hope.
So I'm glad you brought it up. 3 of the last 4 tournaments, we've had a 15 seed win in the first round. So, and since 2000, a 2 seed hasn't made the second weekend in almost every tournament. So if you want to find a 2 seed that maybe you don't want to trust, maybe it's Michigan State. Mine's not Michigan State. Weirdly enough, I do have Michigan State in the Sweet 16. As much as it's going to pain me to say it, and we have a bet riding on it, Nick, I think the Spartans are just playing too well. They play too hard. They have good coaching. I'm going to go ahead and put Michigan State into the round of 32. Do we want to continue to go to the first round games, or do we want to finish up with the South region here?
Well, hold on.
Okay,
I didn't make a
Dustin?
pick.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Because I want you guys to know that I can officially, one of my best picks ever was in March of 2016, 2-seed Michigan State. I did submit on all my brackets Middle Tennessee State to beat them. So that was one of the more proud moments I've ever had picking a game in my life.
How did you do that? How did you think of doing that?
I don't know. I hate Michigan State. But with that said, they're going to
win. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to the next region, or we want to keep going through the South?
I think you should have your first round game, since those are the main games you have looking forward to.
How much does Florida win by? 40, 30, 50?
34.
34? Okay. The line currently is at 28.5.
This was famously a round 32 game, because when Norfolk upset Missouri, they played Florida in the round 32. So a little revenge for the Viking. Right?
A little revenge.
What are their? I can't remember what they're called now. But yeah, Gators by a lot. They cover.
Norfolk State's Spartans, by the way.
Spartans.
To the 8-9 matchup, one of the more intriguing 8-9 matchups that you will see. Are we going to continue with UConn theory of them losing the first game or winning it all? Like, I know Oklahoma's not really a true 9 seed from what we believe, but is UConn dead, or are we going to get some weird stuff happening here?
Oklahoma, I just have not enjoyed all year. I really have not enjoyed UConn too much either. You know, Kentucky utterly blew that game to me on Thursday night if anyone was watching. I'm going to keep with the UConn theory. They either win in Natty or lose in the first round, and I cannot be sweating them going for a 3-peat. Give me Oklahoma out of pure just hope. And everyone's picking UConn as like a trendy pick, so I'll go against the grain.
I will be fascinated to see how UConn guards Jeremiah Fears. That's going to be the one thing I'm curious to see. Dusty, are you going against UConn as well?
You know I hate UConn. No, I'm taking UConn. I said when conference play started, I thought Oklahoma was going to fall off, and they ended up with 6-12 in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And like Nick said, I don't really like them as a team. The experience. Yeah. So.
Well, you know, Porter Moser teams as a 9 seed have done fairly well in the past. Just going to throw that out there. I'm going to take Oklahoma too. I'm going to subscribe to the UConn loses the first game or wins it all theory and just stick with that. I think Florida's going to win the next game regardless. But I pointed out Michigan, UC, San Diego, A&M, Yale as kind of being the best 14 bracket. It might be this next one too. Memphis, Colorado State, Maryland, Grand Canyon are two amazing matchups. Memphis struggles to play against teams that are below their talent and ability level, and Colorado State, as we've seen in the past, has struggled to score, but Neat Clifford is going to be a monster. And then does Colorado State have the guards to be able to handle Memphis's quickness? I love the fact that we're going to see former Purdue Boilermaker Ethan Morton playing for Colorado State in this game. I'm not sure this is the typical trendy 5-12 upset, because I think I'm starting to trust Memphis a little bit more, and I really want to see Memphis play in the second round, because if it's either against if Memphis plays Grand Canyon, that's going to be the most chaotic game in the history of college basketball. There will be no rhyme or reason to it. It's just going to be nonsense and madness. So I'll take Memphis just based on that fact, because I want to see it.
Robbie, I mentioned earlier there's 2 first-round games I'm most excited for. This is the second one. This game is going to be awesome. I know Tyrese Hunter's moved. He not played at all in the AAC tournaments. I'm not sure what his status is.
I'm hoping they're saving him and he's going to be back, but yes.
I have the same thought. Again, Neat Clifford, we've probably not mentioned his name enough on this pod, if at all. He's awesome. This game's also Seattle. So, again, a shorter trip for Colorado State than Memphis.
Right.
Medvedev, the Colorado State coach, apparently has the Minnesota job wrapped up. So that's kind of a plot line.
He has which job wrapped up, you said?
Minnesota is one.
Minnesota, okay. Interesting. All right.
There. That being said, I told myself off picking Colorado State no matter who they played. No shot at all, Memphis. By the way, Colorado State's favored in this game. For people who have not seen, they are literally favored in this battle.
They're the only team that's seeded lower that's a favorite in their game. So 2.5 points is what I saw last.
That is shocking to me.
Because to me, the metrics hate Memphis and Colorado State and Tyrese Hunter's status up in the air. I believe in Vegas. I love Colorado State. This is my 12-5 upset.
All right. Dusty?
I've been on Memphis all year. I've gotten crap for ranking them high from our Mississippi State fans all year because of one game. Okay, let's talk one game. Let's talk Butler then Mississippi State fans. So with that, my law this year, as I'm playing a word search, and law is the word I'm looking for, has been to stick with Memphis. So I'm taking the Tigers. And a nail biter. What's he say? Closer than the experts think.
Closer than the experts think.
They're going to lose, but yeah, even though they think they're going to lose. So definitely closer than the experts think because they're going to win.
Right. I'm going to stick with Memphis as well. I'm just going to continue to subscribe to the anybody but San Diego State theory with the Mountain West going forward. It just last year really ruined it for me. So I want to see Ethan Morton do well. I think Neat Clifford is a tough matchup for Memphis because Memphis's big guys are not super mobile. Cisse and Danja are not guys that can really – I mean, they can move, but I don't think their 4 guys are as strong as they really could be. So I think that's a bigger question across the board is who the heck is going to guard Neat Clifford and who can keep him in front of you. But it's Memphis's guards. PJ Haggerty, even without Tyrese Hunter, you also got Colby Rogers too. They got guys that can score. So I'm going to go with Memphis as well, but I think it's going to be a fun one. I mean, what's going to be even more fun, it might be the Maryland Grand Canyon game. Like this game is awesome. I don't know if there's something you can point to as being like, that's the reason why this team's going to win, but the more that I have watched Maryland, the more I've been impressed with them. I know they didn't win the Big Ten championship. I thought they were the better team against Michigan, but just couldn't finish it off. But the matchup of all matchups is going to be Tyon Grant Foster. Is he going to take Derek Queen or is he going to take Juju Reese? That's going to be the matchup that people want to keep an eye on. I think it's probably going to be Derek Queen, which will be so much fun. But Maryland's guards have been the difference all season long. They haven't had great guard play in a long time. And Jacoby Gillespie has been outstanding. So I'm going to go with Maryland. I don't think this is as good of a Grand Canyon team as they were last year. But if this game can get wild and crazy and chaotic, that plays into Grand Canyon's hands. And it's going to be, can they have that environment? Can they have that home court advantage like they did last year in Spokane? If that happens, they've got a great shot. Nick?
Robbie, I'm with you. I'm drinking the Maryland Kool-Aid. Not to do a spoiler alert. You know how you mentioned earlier, like at the end, you hit your bracket after you're done with it? I have Maryland going way further than I thought. I hear all the cliches, great guard play, depth is overrated, and those both fit Maryland's, how we describe Maryland. Yeah, I got Maryland winning this game, and I'm going to go on far in this tournament. I know I'm going to fall on my face, but I believe in the Terps, Robbie. Shout out to Crab 5.
The crab 5, I love it. Maryland, 10.5-point favorite. That seems high. Honestly.
Higher, even higher.
Higher than I thought. Oh, you want to go higher? Okay. Dusty, are you taking the upset here?
I want to. I'll be rooting for Grand Canyon for all the reasons that you just gave and just the atmosphere and whatnot. I like Maryland a lot too. I think they'll hold off on this one.
Okay, that's kind of where I am too. Here's another trendy upset: Missouri Drake. Are we going to go against GFOP Corby and his Tigers here, or Missouri 6.5-point favorite? I'll let you guys take it first because I'm actually pretty confident in my pick here. Nick?
This is a conflicting styles game. Drake likes to get up and down. Missouri up and down. Mark Mitchell did not play in the SEC tournament. I really want Drake to win this game. Sorry, Corby, to say that. But again, just this Drake story and everything. That being said, that's how I know Missouri is going to win this game because it's just not pretty. It's not as exciting as other teams. I want to pick Drake so badly. That's why I think Missouri's going to win.
A lot of the media people are taking Drake to make the surprise run to at least a Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched Drake this year. I have seen Missouri play a handful of times. Obviously, they're very unpredictable to me as well. But I think this is one of those trendy ones too, where everyone's picking them to get upset, and so the team that expected when it comes out and just holds court.
That's kind of I'm right there with you guys too. I think Drake's the trendy pick. Drake, I don't know if you knew this, but we know how slow St. Mary's plays, one of the slowest teams in the country. Drake plays almost 4 possessions per game slower than St. Mary's. That's insane.
That's crazy.
Ben McCollum's teams just suck the life out of you. Bennett Sturts is awesome, but I think Missouri can play a different pace. I know they kind of want to get up and down a little bit, but I think their defense, Missouri's defense, is good enough to win this game. So I'm with you guys both. I'm actually very confident Missouri is going to win this game, but I was hoping Drake would get a different 6-11 matchup because Missouri is one of those teams I actually really, really like, kind of like with Maryland. So I'm there with you. I think we're going to take the clean sweep there with the Tigers. Texas Tech, UNCW. The Seahawks are always interesting when they get to the tournament, but here's another team. I love Texas Tech. I think they are excellent. I think they're a 15.5-point favorite. They started off as a 14.5-point favorite. It's already going up a point. I think the Red Raiders are going to have no problems here.
I think JT Toppin has to be a chance to be a star of the tournament.
Yes.
I love him. I think he's that special, especially if they upset St. Johnson in Sweet 16. He has a big game. I love Texas Tech in this game. That being said, UNCW is they've been in this tournament before many times, but I love Texas Tech. Grant McCaskey, one of the best coaches in the country, or underrated coaches in the country.
No, throw it in there. One of the best coaches in the country. It is not. I don't know how teams keep doing it, but it is not easy to win in Lubbock. That is a tough job. And Texas Tech, again, they were a rough end of the game away from winning a national championship against Virginia a couple years ago. So, they're good. Dusty, you like Texas Tech too?
Nope, Seahawks. They've won 15 or 17, and there's always going to be one of those first round games. Not necessarily a 15 over 2, but one that is going to shock us. And like you guys talking about Toppin being the story of the tournament, I was sure there's a heartbreaking moment too for a great player who sees it as that's how their college career is going to end, in a shocking loss of the Seahawks.
Sure.
So give me the upset here.
All right, Dusty, that's a big one. 3-14 upset. To the 7-10.
Right. So we have a couple 14 upsets.
Well, I took Lipscomb and then Dusty has UNC Wilmington. So yeah, again, Purdue is missing the infinity gauntlet of the 14 seed. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to get an opportunity unless they would see Troy in the Elite Eight, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we got getting ahead of ourselves. Okay, the matchup that everyone wants to talk about. How do you pronounce it? Is it Arkansas or Kansas? What is it? This is ultimately going to be the decision if it's Arkansas or Arkansas. And also, ultimately, are we going to get Boogie Flan back? Is Adu Thiero going to play? Is Kansas actually going to show up? There's all sorts of different storylines here. I know this is not going to be our best first-round matchup, but it could be the best storyline matchup between the Jayhawks and intrigue. Great word. Dusty, I want to start with you first, being the Cal guy. Do you like the Razorbacks here?
I do, kind of the same thing with Kansas, just kind of teetering down the stretch, and Arkansas is really the opposite, where we didn't think they were going to be in the tournament a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they had lost, 4 or 5 straight. I think this is really a coin flip game. I don't. Who's favored? Do we know what's the line on that? Obviously, it has to be Kansas.
Let me go ahead and pull it up right now. Kansas 4.5 point favorite. It's already down. It's already down a point. It opened at 5.5.
But basketball gods, you cannot stop me from not being able to watch Rick Pitino versus John Calipari.
Oh, yes.
So this is just strictly with my heart. Go Razorbacks.
All right, Big Suey, Nick.
If Bill Self was smart, he'd bring Mario Chalmers this game just to mess with John Calipari. The 08 National Championship. This was maybe the most talented set, just pure talent on the floor, 7-10 matchup ever. Again, Arkansas is preseason top 20. Kansas was preseason number 1. And here they are. Winners can get Pitino more than likely. Interesting. Boogie Flan's interesting because, like, sounds like he's only going to play 10 to 15 minutes. They're not mess up their flow. I mean, a lot of people brought up the Kyrie comparison because Kyrie messed up Duke's flow famously about a decade ago. I don't know if Arkansas's been that good without Boogie Flan that I necessarily subscribe to that theory.
Yeah.
All that being said, I just cannot envision Bill Self going out one and done. That's not even a shot at Arkansas. This is more about Bill Self in Kansas. You cannot be preseason number 1 and lose in the first round. So I got to go Kansas. Pure respect for Bill Self. No shot to my boy Cal.
I'm doing the same thing as Dusty here. I want Pitino Cal in the second round. I need it.
Don't be wrong. So do I. We need it in Providence.
Need it. Yes, that would be amazing. Also, it gives me a reason to pick against Hunter Dickinson. So I'm taking Arkansas here as well. I think one of the biggest revelations has been the rise of DJ Wagner as a shooter. Like, he's been really good for the – like, where's that been?
That's why we started over Reed Rob. That's what we were hoping to see last year.
That's what I'm leaning on. Yes, so I'm taking Arkansas as well. St. John's.
Hey, Robbie, real quick, I know Boogie might play. Do we know anything about Adu? Like, has there been any update?
I don't think there's been any definitive answer on Thiero. I will look here shortly. You guys talk. So Omaha is a great story. Hopefully you get a chance to look them up. They've had a fantastic season. They beat up on trash cans after games. Their coach is fun. They're just a cool story. St. John's they won 30 games this year. Are they going to have any troubles winning this game?
Rookie Thiero is doubtful for first round.
Okay.
For someone who approves banging trash cans, and I believe it's Omaha's first appearance.
Correct.
Okay. Well, they're going to get wiped. So bang those trash cans headed home.
Yeah, St. John's.
It would be so heartbreaking, and I'm guessing Kansas is the first game because of the primetime aspect. It would be so gutting, though, if Calipari won, and then somehow St. John's get upset by it.
Oh, that would be awful.
Hilariously awful.
It would be awful.
Yeah, St. John's will win this game. I do want to shout the Omaha head basketball coach. Is Crunchfield. I didn't get his first name. He played at Omaha. He's his alma mater. His wife went to Omaha as well.
Wow.
He didn't get his first head coaching job to. He's 55 years old. It's his 3 years of school. So shout to him. That's, I think, always a cool story. That being said, good luck, buddy. St. John's by.
Good luck, buddy.
Let's go 24 points. Shout out to him. Crunchfield. I should have written down his first name. Shout out to him.
Omaha started the season 4-9, and they found a way to win the Summit League. They won the regular season and the tournament. It was very impressive how they were able to finish the year. But yeah, St. John's is too tough. If anyone wants to just give St. John's that extra boost, play Big E's Hypnotize during the starting lineups, and that will get St. John's will not lose a game if teams continue to let them have that. Like that, if you hear that, that basically just gave St. John's a 15-point lead right off the start. So it's so good. So yeah, I'm with you, St. John's, and I'm hoping Arkansas is going to be your second round game. All right, let's flip it over to the top right quadrant, the East region. Duke. I mean, just the conspiracy theories already started, getting an easy road to an Elite Eight here, in my opinion. I will be curious to see how they play against American, because American's not a terrible team. They slow the pace down. I don't think that Mount St. Mary's would have a chance, but how are we feeling about Duke going into this thing?
Two things on that, Robbie. One, two things. One, this definitely is the region maybe with the least juice, maybe, because I do kind of have the same feeling about Duke. And also, shout out American, one of the two teams in the tournament that UNC beat this year. So shout out to them.
Correct. Them and UCLA.
That's great.
But that being said, in this region, there is some like bucket getters like VJ Edgecombe, Josh Hubbard, Jackson Shellstat. Caleb Love, some might say. Bucket getters.
Hold on. Mute button. There it is.
That being said, yeah, Duke, they hate America. They're going to be American by a lot.
Wow. Dusty, how are we feeling about Duke?
I mean, it comes down to flag to me, honestly.
Yeah.
And again, I said this last time maybe they did in the tournament, ACC, but had not played a ranked team since beating Auburn at home in December. So not a lot of competition. And we know Duke does have some historical upset losses in the tournament.
They sure have.
So they'll handle American, and then we can start talking about the next game.
So if you follow, again, I love following Ryan Hammer on Twitter and Instagram. He's so good with analytics and metrics and numbers. He has this thing called the trapezoid of excellence. And if you don't know it, look it up. It's basically pace and an adjusted net rating all together onto one to XY axis. Duke is literally stretching the trapezoid because they've been so dominant lately in how they've been playing with their pace and net rating. That said, the Cooper Flag injury does scare me a little bit because if you watch that ankle turn, it was not, it looked bad. And then they had to go all Paul Pierce and put him in a wheelchair. I don't know why you do that. Just let the guy, just walk him off the floor. You didn't need to do that. They'll get past the first game. I think people are underestimating how tough their second round game is going to be because Mississippi State is athletic as hell and Baylor has guys that can guard you and eat you up. So I like Duke moving forward. I think if Duke gets past the round of 32 game, go ahead and pencil them in for the Elite Eight because I don't think the Sweet 16 is going to stop them. So let's go to Mississippi State and Baylor. I feel like this is kind of a coin flip game. I'm just picking Mississippi State just completely based off my heart here. What's crazy is Baylor actually opened as a favorite, a 1.5 point favorite, and now Mississippi State is the 1.5 point favorite. So the line shifted 2 points already. And I think a lot of that has to do with how, again, Mississippi State is very volatile with how Josh Hubbard plays, and Baylor's just been a mess across the board. So what do we think? I'm going State, but I can be convinced otherwise.
Real quick on Flag, it sounds like he is on track for Friday. It's the verbiage they use, so take that for whatever it's worth. Just real quick on that. Yeah, Rob, this one's interesting. This obviously it's a general public, probably the 8-9 game with the least juice. That being said, though, I think again Josh Hubbard versus VJ Edgecombe,
great matchup,
freaking good.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Robbie. I'm going Mississippi State here. This does give me the Michigan State game vibe last year, 8-9, but we're going to ignore that. I'm over Baylor. I think they have 14 losses. I kept waiting for them to turn around. They never did. I think this will be a very fun game, though. Give me Mississippi State.
Yeah,
I know. I picked Baylor to win this to make the Final Four at the start of the season, but I'm off of it now. I'm off the train. So, Dusty, your thoughts?
They've been such a letdown since that opener against Gonzaga.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about a darling of the tournament. Well, when Josh Hubbard leads Mississippi State over Duke, there's going to be your darling of the tournament that the country's going to fall in love with.
I would love that. That'd be awesome.
I would say this 8-9 does give me like that UCF vibe against Duke a couple years ago, where no one was talking about UCF in that game, and then they were inches from beating them.
And Duke had the number 1 pick in the draft playing.
Good point. Oh, it's a lot of similarities.
For those that don't remember, Zion Williamson. For those that listen.
Oh, Zion Williamson was on that team. Wow, that's weird. Didn't know that. To the 5-12 matchup, this is one of my favorite 5-12 upset picks of this entire tournament. If you did not get a chance to see Liberty win the Conference USA tournament, they are awesome. You are going to learn very quickly the name Caden Matheny. He is a bucket getter. And if you remember, I think it was 5 years ago, Liberty came in as a 12 seed, beat the 5 seed Mississippi State. This very similar matchup. And I think that's just the similarities are just jumping off the page at me. I was probably going to pick Liberty regardless of who they were playing in this first round game. And by all analytics, it is a dead even matchup. I know a lot of people like to trust Dana Altman in first rounds of games, and I get that. I don't like this Oregon team. I think they're flawed. I don't think they're very good. So just based on that, that's why I'm going Liberty. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this one's I think Oregon kind of reminds me of Kentucky, whereas like the good teams they play, you feel confident, but they can kind of play down to a competition. That being said, this is Dana Altman and Jackson Shell's bet. I like Oregon this game. I think Liberty was really good. This again, they've been in the tournament many times. So is the other team we'll talk about, Akron. But I think Jackson Shell's shot get into next week or next round.
Dusty?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's been a letdown, and they looked bad in the IU game. I really thought IU should beat them in that matchup in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah. And like we said, you got to pick upsets somewhere. So I'm going with Liberty as well.
I like it. Okay. Let's go to the 4-13 matchup. Arizona, are they going to find a way to ruin it again? They take on an Akron team that wants to push the pace and shoot the ball. They want to get up and down the floor. If you didn't see how they beat Miami, Ohio in that MAC championship game, it was awesome. That being said, I'm probably going to take Arizona just because I think I trust them more. And I think Akron's a very small team. Arizona's a very big team. Arizona's got some size. So I think Arizona's guards are really good in transition, and they can also really face up and hang with you one-on-one. So as much as I want to pick Akron, I just don't trust the MAC. So I'm going to take the Wildcats against by my bias, and I'm going to take Tommy Luke and Tommy, what's his last name?
Lloyd.
Tommy Lloyd. I was thinking of Tommy Luce, former Purdue player. Tommy Lloyd in Arizona. I'll take the Wildcats here. Nick?
Yeah, again, I mentioned earlier how this region has the least juice. I think it's mostly because Arizona, Oregon. Like you said, Oregon's a flawed team. Arizona has their flaws. I think a lot of people pick upsets here, and then we're just going to get Arizona, Oregon in the next round. We're going to get a Pac-12 rematch in the round 30.
Yeah.
Caleb Love versus Jackson Shellstat. It's March, Robbie. This is where Caleb Love shows up, Robbie.
Oh, shut your mouth.
He shows up. Disregard last year against Clemson, whoever it was. But in their first round.
Yeah, don't think about his losses. Think about his wins.
Positive. Glass half full, Robbie. Akron, that was an awesome MAC title game, by the way. Like
that was great. Dusty?
Akron actually had a decent non-conference. They beat Omaha by 8.
Yep.
They did lose to St. Mary's by 20, essentially. I'm looking for other games. Lost to Yale by 16. And like you said, I don't think we've had a MAC team win a tournament game since Ohio beat Georgetown. Is that correct? Has there been one since then?
Ohio beat. Are you talking about Virginia? Maybe a couple years ago.
Yeah, Ohio beat Virginia. Yeah, but I remember the Ohio Georgetown game too.
Fine,
but
a non-Ohio MAC team. I don't think has won.
It's been a bit. It's been a bit. Yeah.
I'll stick with chalk with Arizona.
I'm the same way. But Nate Johnson, learn that name. Spread is down 2 points already. Started 15.5 for Arizona. It's down to 13.5, which I think is pretty interesting. Maybe the best 6-11 matchup might be BYU VCU. You want to talk about what could get into chaos? I mean, we could get havoc. If you remember, the head coach of UMBC, he's now at VCU. Is this the opportunity for the Rams and Max Shulga to get some stuff done, Nick?
By the way, is there rumors you mentioned he came from UMBC? Is there rumors he's going to be the Virginia coach?
There's some rumors about that. Yes, indeed.
That'd be hysterical. If
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Virginia. Robbie, other than the two I mentioned earlier, this might be my other favorite first-round game. This should be awesome. Again, VCU's Havoc versus BYU, who fills it up. They beat Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament again. I'm VCU. I've been on them all year. Give me Havoc. Give me Max Shulga. They're getting to the next round, Robbie. Ram it up.
Dusty?
Does BYU always play in this Thursday 6-11 game?
The Thursday 6-11 game is
doesn't even matter what side they're on.
Every year.
Very cool for them to lose Pope and have the season they did. And also, the same thing. I feel like VCU always plays in the two, so they probably just got lazy and said, let's just put it against each other. I will stick with BYU in this game.
So I'm the decider. I've been going back and forth on this one all day. BYU looked literally incredible in that win over Iowa State. Like, they were awesome. And then they looked awful against Houston. They looked so bad.
Yeah.
It was like, what team was this? I'm going to go VCU. I've been going back and forth on it. I'm going to trust Max Shulga, Job Famasile. I like the athleticism. I like the havoc that VCU can provide. And I just don't trust BYU in first-round games anymore. I think they continue with their Mountain West trend and just can't win the first game if they don't have Jimmer. So I'm going to go VCU. To the 3-14 matchup, Wisconsin-Montana. John Tonje is going to go for 30, and they're going to beat the Grizzlies by a bunch here. This feels like such a different Wisconsin team. There's something about them that give me some confidence going into this game. I don't know what they do for you guys, but I like Wisconsin by a lot here.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about Wisconsin that they played well in the Big Ten tournament. I think they keep it going. And I think the Big Sky schools never do anything in March Madness. Like they always like a 14 seed, and they just never have. I can't.
Montana won a 5-12 one year, but yes, it feels like it's been a while since we got a Big Sky team. Like South Dakota State, I know has been, South Dakota State's in the Summit. They weren't the Big Sky. It's been it feels like the Big Sky never really announced much, unfortunately.
Eastern Washington gave Kansas a game in the Indy
That's a good one.
Tournament. That's the only time I can think of it. So yeah, Wisconsin, I think take care of business and we move on.
Yep. Dusty.
Same. Like you said, Tanjay, this is a great way for him to come out and have 60 for all we care.
You learned his name. You learned his name, crap.
Congrats to Montana for getting there, but I think Wisconsin are having a little kind of rough patch for a couple of weeks or so. They did. Kind of rode their momentum back in the Big Ten tournament, so I'll take the Badgers to move on.
To the 7-10 matchup in the East region, St. Mary's versus Vanderbilt. I love Vandy in this matchup. I'll be honest with you. I think this is Mark Byington. This is his game. This is Jason Edwards. This is AJ Hogarth. This is the Commodores, man. And I think they would love another crack at Alabama. So I'm going to go Vandy here in a 7-10 upset. I don't think it's a big upset. I think St. Mary's is a very good team, but just feels like St. Mary's is such a flawed team for the tournament because of how slow they play. So I'm going to go Commodores. Nick?
I keep ragging on this region. I think this 17 game has gotten the least pub so far of all of them, and probably the one gives the least choose. Interesting note, St. Mary's is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country, and Vanderbilt's not very big at all.
Right.
St. Mary's has to win one of these eventually, right? At some point, I'm playing the odds. Give me St. Mary's, but again, awesome year one for Mark Byington either way. What a year it's been for them.
Indeed. Dusty?
I am so glad Vandy's back in the tournament. I'm always have a soft spot for Vandy until they beat Kentucky like once a year. I think they're truly just happy to be back here. And St. Mary's just feels like that veteran foreign team that comes in every year, plays slow as hell, they're boring as hell. But I think they could I would love to see them and Bama play with the paces. So I'm taking St. Mary's. But go Doors.
Go Doors. I'm with you there. Alabama, how much do they would beat Robert Morris by? I feel like this is such a lopsided matchup.
The only thing interesting about this game is if Grant Nelson plays.
Right.
It's the only thing we got to look for in this game. Sometimes these 15 seeds that we overlook are like the ones that actually pull the upsets. Like I think I saw Princeton.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm not predicting that. Bama by a billion.
Yeah.
I don't think Robert Morris can keep the score low enough for an upset game. So they're not going to score 100 with Bama. So rule side. I'm
with you there. Yeah, I think Mark Sears has a big game. Cam Woods, though, fun player for Robert Morris. Robert Morris can play fast. They're not a slow team by any means, so they can play with some pace a little bit. But yeah, I think Alabama's going to run him out of the gym. In this one.
Robert Morris's coach's name, it's like Anthony Toole or something like that. He's going to be a high major coach soon. That's my prediction. He's really good.
Congratulations to SIU Edwardsville, their first ticket into the March Madness NCAA basketball tournament. Congratulations. You have to play Houston. Whoops.
Congratulations.
Over under 49.5 points scored by SIU Edwardsville in this game.
Dusty heard me say it. As soon as they announced this matchup, I looked at him and said, SIU Edwardsville might score 12 points. I'm going under, Robbie. This is going to be a slaughter. Good year, though.
I won't waste time. Let's move on. I like Nick's prediction of 12 points.
This over under is diabolical. 126.5 is the total over under.
That rocks.
That's insane. All right, 8-9 matchup is fascinating. Gonzaga, Georgia. Zags have made 9 straight Sweet 16s. Do they make it 10, Nick Mills?
They'll at least get halfway there. Gonzaga's up to top 10 in KenPom, I believe, still, which is crazy as an 8 seed, which I believe they can be 8 seed. They probably could have gotten a 7, but they just really don't have the quality wins.
Sure.
Again, I keep saying it's like usually like these spicy 8-9 games, usually the team we want to win usually doesn't. I don't think in this instant, though. Awesome year from Georgia. Austin Newell's amazing. Zags, though.
Austin Newell's he's been so good.
So good.
And then my boy Blue Cane. Just let him rip, baby.
The country's going to learn about Blue Cane.
You're going to learn about Blue Cane pretty quick, yeah.
Oh, we already did.
Oh,
yeah.
I did.
So casuals are about to learn about who's this guy on Georgia.
Dusty, you love Gonzaga. You've loved them from the beginning.
I do.
Are they going to get it done here? Okay.
Yeah.
So that would set up a pretty tasty round of 32 matchup, which we'll get to here in a little bit. To the 5-12, 4-13 here, another good one. Clemson McNeese. McNeese was the darling going into last year's tournament as the 12 seed. I think they get another bad matchup here. I feel like with how Clemson plays, just does not suit what McNeese went to their strengths. I really like Clemson this game, as long as the Brad Brownell rumors to IU don't get to the Tigers too much. I feel like I trust Chase Hunter. I trust Ian Shefflin. I trust the way Clemson plays. And they have some size too. They can get up and down a little bit. So I really like how Clemson plays. I actually like them a lot in this game.
We're the same on this, Robbie. I think it's an awful matchup for McNeese State. Shout out Will Wade. He is a Clemson alum. I did not know that until they played each other. So I
didn't either.
Apparently, they schedule their Saturday fall practices around Clemson's football games. So shout out to them. Again, I hate this game for them. Chase Hunter's brother, I guess, is out. I did not realize that till I heard that today.
I did not either.
So I know he's not one of the best players, but still, no, yeah, Clemson won this game.
I would have loved to have seen McNeese Memphis. That would have been awesome. That would have been a great game. Dusty, are you taking Will Wade and the Cowboys?
No, this isn't usually off my heart. I don't think you can ever root for Will Wade. So,
fair.
Although Nick was the joke we've made about Dabo not using advantage of supporting the troops.
Mm-hmm. Him and you told the NAI. Let me talk about NIL this, NIL that. Let me talk about someone who's
I thought Clemson did. Oh, how isn't the Clemson coach that comes dressed up as like in his in military outfits?
Oh no, you're talking about, for people didn't see, it's the Clemson baseball team honored the military.
Thank
they
you,
all in the stands and shook their hands, and someone tweeted said Dabo's so pissed he didn't think of his first.
Yeah, thank you. That's the list. That's all I have. That's all I have about this game. No, don't go Clemson. But I think Clemson holds on, and like you guys said, matchup is not ideal for McNeese team. That is good, but really just ran through the Southland for 2 years.
You just wonder who's going to snatch up Will Wade and become a contender, because Will Wade is one of the best coaches in college basketball. He really is. So just it's a matter of time before he moves into another high major job. And what he's done at McNeese has been exceptional. And they got some great players. They've good guys that can guard. But yeah, this just feels like Clemson's going to have no problems here for me. Nick, you had something else for you to say?
I'll say if Brownwell goes to IU, I guess Will Wade to Clemson really opens up then as alumni. So look
that would be
for that.
Ooh, very interesting. All right, to the 4-13 matchup in this region. The trendiest 4-13 upset in the history of sports, Purdue versus High Point. The biggest line mover so far has been this game. Purdue started as a 10.5-point favorite. It's down to 7.5. I will be honest, I'm very confident Purdue is going to win this game. I think I honestly don't think High Point's a good matchup. Or Purdue is a good matchup for High Point. They're not very big inside. They got 1 7-footer. And he's a really good rebounder. But this is a High Point team that does not defend very well. When Purdue plays teams that don't defend well, they eat them up. If Braden Smith can find that jump shot, that's been the problem lately, is Braden Smith has been short on that mid-range jumper. If he can get that going, Purdue should have no issues. I actually think the Boilermakers are going to cover that 7.5, and they're going to move on. Nick?
Completely agree, Robbie. I think this is a good matchup for Purdue. It's such a trendy pick. I mean, again, both teams can score the ball. I think Purdue can win that game.
Yeah.
Again, Purdue's not looked great the last month, so everyone's going to pick against them. But I think the players are going to hear all this stuff about, Purdue first round. We know how this goes.
They literally heard it right after their name was called, because Seth Davis says, I like High Point in this game.
Seth Davis picks every 12 and 13 to win.
Every one of them.
He picks everyone. Purdue, I like this matchup, Robbie.
Dusty?
So High Point has not lost since 2 weeks before the Luka Doncic trade, if that says anything about their win streak they're on. I think this is a game Braden Smith would not let them win. To me, it's as simple as that. Unless he just comes out and, but our, soon to be National Player of the Year on this pod would arise from the ashes from the preseason. Yeah, Braden Smith leads Purdue to at least the next round.
And yes, there are rumors swirling that there are teams going after Braden Smith. Some is paying as much as close to $6 million to get him to leave Purdue to come to their school. There could be a couple teams out there doing that. So might be in the back of Braden Smith's head. we'll see. I think he's going to come out and he's going to have something to prove with how poor they played in that Michigan game in the Big Ten tournament. Moving on to the bracket, Illinois is going to play the winner of Texas and Xavier. If you didn't take North Carolina or San Diego State here, this is the spot where you need to take your 11 seed to win. Do any of you like Texas or Xavier over Illinois?
First off, this first 4 game, I love is Trey Johnson versus Ryan Conwell. That's awesome.
Great
And
matchup.
people forget when Beard was gone at Texas, Sean Miller was rumored to take the Texas job at one point. So
that's right.
A lot of interesting, not this first 4 game. That being said, I already have San Diego State winning round 32. I think Illinois, by the way, kind of Kentucky was in the same pod, are 2 volatile teams. I think it's very interesting they're in the same pod. Yeah. I think Illinois moves on. I think they're going to be awesome basketball games either way, though, whoever wins this game.
Dusty?
Illinois, I know they had 6 players, but after that Duke debacle, seemed to wake up a little bit this season. I think they're safely in the round 32, no matter who they play.
I would have been
Trey Johnson is scary, though.
Yeah, I would have been much more confident in Illinois if they just didn't look absolutely horrific against Maryland in that Big Ten tournament game. That was awful. They looked terrible. Shout out to the punk Illinois kid that was talking smack to me after they had just gotten boat raced by the Terps after I went down Friday night to watch Purdue lose. So this one's for you, buddy. You're losing to Xavier in the first round.
Wow, we've had 2 buddies in the show.
Yeah, right? Throw up the X's for the Muskies. I love Ryan Conwell. I think getting Fremantle back has been great for this Xavier team. They ended the season strong, even though they didn't beat a ton of good teams. So I really do like Xavier. And weirdly enough, I like Sean Miller teams in the tournament. I think they find ways to get it done. Even with Arizona, he made some good runs. So I'm going to, at the very least, I'm kind of just throwing a bunch of darts at the dartboard, hoping one of those first 4 games stick. So
Smart.
I'm gonna take Xavier, and if it's not Xavier, I actually do think Trey Johnson goes bonkers against Illinois because I don't think the Illini can really handle him. So I'll take the first 4 team there. I could not be more confident in Kentucky winning this first game. I'll be honest with you. I think Troy as a 14 seed seems outrageous. That seems I don't see it. But how do we feel about Kentucky, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, because the past couple of years off, you're a little scarred in this. Like you said, I don't think they could have asked for much better of a matchup. Troy's the worst 3-point shooting team in the country, which you just know they're going to start 4 of 7. Your boys,
of course,
fine. Lamont Butler is apparently good to go, which that's massive to have him.
Huge.
It's just kind of like I said about St. Mary's earlier. We can't lose this again, right? It cannot happen again.
Can't happen again.
Can't happen again.
There's no Jack Golkey to scare you. Okay, it's not happening.
I will say, Rob, we forgot to mention this earlier. It should be noted again. You're Purdue. I'm a Kentucky fan. So is Dusty, Kentucky. This regional final is in Indianapolis, Robbie. We can dream, can't we?
Oh, we can dream, but dreams are not reality in this instance. No, I'm sorry.
Not. Hopefully that we should take down Troy. Shout out Trojan condoms, but Kentucky gets this one. Please.
Please. Dusty.
Please.
I'm horrified. That's all I'm going to say. Kentucky's a better team. I didn't know much about Troy, so I was researching them. And yeah, they I cannot believe they're 14 seed just from looking at their schedules and the results, whatnot. So
that's what I thought too. They seem like a 15 or even a 16 seed, but I guess we don't have many options. Yeah, I will say them beating Arkansas State in that Sun Belt championship game was very impressive. Arkansas State is a damn good team. So if this was Arkansas State instead, I would be slightly worried. But being at Troy, I like Kentucky by a lot here. 10.5 seems like easy money. I'm not gonna. That seems like easy. All right. To the bottom half of the Midwest region, 7-10 matchup is a fun one. UCLA and Utah State. Mick Cronin's Bruins, tough, physical, rugged. Utah State can play at just about any pace possible. Bruins only a 5.5-point favorite. If you don't know about Ian Martinez, you're going to learn about him quickly for the Aggies. I actually love UCLA in this game, and I think they cover rather easily. What do you guys think?
First of all, I love this game's in Lexington, so both these teams have to travel far, which means Mick Cronin, his air miles just keep racking up. He has to be incensed. They are back in Lexington. They just keep flying east.
You get what you ask for, Mick.
You get what you ask for. This is an awesome matchup. I'm very excited for a 17 game. I think they're both Trinity picks, in my opinion, over Tennessee. All biases included. I'm believing the Mountain West this year. It's going to least pub ever. Utah State they believe finished second. Give me the Aggies over the Bruins.
Ooh, all right.
Would have done a Big Ten tournament, not like in the vibes right now. Aggies.
All right. Dusty?
Utah State, even without the success, have been to 3 straight tournaments. I like that. And more for my own viewing pleasure, I want Utah State to win, and I'm taking them just so I can hear you guys touch on Mick Cron complaining about the travel after the game.
That'd be great.
In the Midwest Regionals in Indy, Saints go right back to the East if he needs.
Just stay out there, Mick. You're fine. Fantastic. All right. There is no Fletcher McGee to scare you, Tennessee. Wofford and the Vols. This seems almost too easy to take Tennessee here. Wofford, a 19-15 team. This is not the Wofford team that we've seen in the past. They are experienced, but they have never had a winning streak longer than 3 games this season, and they don't have a ton of great shooting. I think the over-under total in this game is 132.5. I would slam that under till the roosters crow. So I don't even know if that's a saying, but I think Tennessee wins with ease in this game. I'll be honest with you, Nick.
Yeah, despite all Rick Barnes' tournament failures, I'm not fair. Wait, what do you want to use for Tennessee?
Setbacks.
Setbacks. There we go. They've dominated the first round, I feel like, against lesser teams. So I think they'll take care of business here once again.
Dusty?
Yep, same. Nothing else to add.
All right. There's our first round picks. Let's hop back over into the round of 32 into the South region. Auburn going to take on either Louisville or Creighton. Does anyone think that Auburn doesn't make it to the Sweet 16 then?
Nope, I have Auburn Sweet 16. I really hope this is Broome versus Cockbitter, but Auburn Sweet 16.
Dusty?
Yeah, I want to see that matchup, but Auburn's a better team, and they've proved it all year.
Yeah, I'm going to go Auburn too. And as much as there was some talk that I can't remember who put it online, but someone said that Kentucky fans need to disguise themselves as Creighton fans or whoever fans that play Auburn and just be those fans to take down the Tigers in that game. So, yeah, I have Auburn in the Sweet 16, overall number 1 seed. It feels like you just lock them in. So, who do we like coming out of this pod here? Well, I know I got San Diego and A&M. I know this is kind of an up-in-the-air pick here. What do we think? A&M, Yale, San Diego?
I have A&M in the Sweet 16. I think their defense is awesome. I think it's maybe good for them. They went one and done. I know I think it's like they've lost 5 of 7, something like that. But I think about them. A&M in the Sweet 16.
Dusty?
I have A&M as well. I had San Diego with the upset too. I don't see them pulling 2 of them. So after that high, I'll say take the Aggies.
I'm just going to take UC San Diego because I can't see A&M beating Auburn. I can't see A&M beating Auburn. I can't. It feels like at that point it's not going to happen. So I'm gonna play the odds and see if we can get a double-digit seed into the round of 16. So round of the Sweet 16. So we'll see what happens. All right, our next pod: Ole Miss, North Carolina, Iowa State, Lipscomb. I'll say it again. It pains me to say it. I think somehow North Carolina is going to make this thing happen. I don't know how, but I really like Ole Miss. If Ole Miss can get to here, I like them going to the Elite Eight.
This is my double digit. I have San Diego State in the Sweet 16.
Okay.
Iowa State, I still think they have enough firepower, but I just think that their vibes last month or so have just not been there. So give me San Diego State.
Dusty?
I'm with Nick. I had San Diego State before we even got to this point. So
okay.
Keep that rolling.
I feel pretty good about it not being Iowa State in either of the 3 teams, or I guess you could say 4 because it could be North Carolina too. But yeah, I think I'm kind of with you there. I'm not sure I trust the Cyclones in this instance. So let's go to the bottom pot of this bracket: Marquette, New Mexico, Michigan State, Bryant. Does anyone want to take Marquette or New Mexico instead of the Spartans? Dusty?
You talked about the 2 seeds falling early. I think Michigan State's the one that falls. To me, they're definitely superior of the top 8 seeds. And Michigan State, March, Izzo. They still have some pretty tough losses in the past, so they exceeded expectations as the season went on. When they won 10 or 11 in a row, and no one was talking about them, which is stunning with them. But I think that's where it comes to an end, is on the second round. Although my only problem is I don't really see it being New Mexico, and I want to go back on my Marquette pick. But got to stick with what I started with. All
right, Nick.
Even if I wanted to pick against Michigan State, I'm a man of principle. I have a bet on them making the Sweet 16.
You sure do.
Yeah. I believe this team all year. I didn't know the Sweet 16. I am terrified of Cam Jones or Donovan Dent going full March in around 32 on them. Michigan State got to have it for my sanity, please.
So that's why I'm going to take a win-win approach here. If Michigan State doesn't make it to the Sweet 16, I win. And if Michigan State does, I'm going to win because I'm taking the Spartans to make it to the Sweet 16. I can't lose in this instance. It's a win-win situation for me. So that's where we're at. The South region, let's continue to pick through here so we can wrap it up and get to a final 4 team in each region. So now we have, does Auburn lose to A&M, or are we good with Auburn being in the Elite Eight?
Auburn.
Okay, I have Auburn in the Elite Eight too. Dusty?
Auburn.
Okay. What are we doing with the Elite Eight on the bottom half? I've got Ole Miss in the Elite Eight.
Michigan State over San Diego State. I think San Diego State's magic would run out at that point.
Okay, so you got Sparty in the Elite Eight. Dusty?
You have New Mexico or San Diego State, right? Or your two teams?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got a Mountain West Sweet 16.
Woo!
Yeah.
Take that, sponsor.
Yep. Hell yeah. We'll let Alford's magic keep rising. Let's go New Mexico.
Donovan Dent.
Donovan Dent, baby. The Lobos. They're fun, man. They're fun. All right. Is Auburn going to the Final Four?
Everyone's off them right now because they've lost 3 or 4, but I still believe they've been the best team all year. Auburn's going to San Antonio.
Dusty?
I think they were done. They're ready to be done with the SEC in that gauntlet. So I think they compose it back together. And hell yeah, Bruce Pearl getting back there. Congrats, Auburn.
I'm with you guys. I think Auburn's going to make the Final Four. So that's where we're at right now. Let's go to the West region. Florida, Sweet 16. Just put it in right now.
Yes, I feel great about them making Sweet 16.
I do too, man. They look good. Dusty?
I'm just looking at this region. I hate the directions this is going to go. Florida in the Sweet 16. UConn's run-ins. Great 2+ years. Now, kick rocks.
To the round of 32, you could give me an argument on any 4 of these teams making it to the Sweet 16. I'd be like, yep, that sounds pretty good. I'm just going to go with the team that I've started to believe in more and more, and I think Dusty may be trending here with me. I love Maryland. I really like this Maryland team, and I it's not in my nature to pick 4 Kevin Willard, but I'm going to here. So give me the Crab 5. Nick?
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I have Carl State in round 32. I can't see him making the Sweet 16. So I like Maryland going to Sweet 16.
Yeah. Dusty?
I have to stick to my guns too. I've been on Memphis all year. I don't really believe in them in this matchup, but I'll stick with where my heart's been all year. Memphis.
I like it. All right. To the bottom half of the West region. Missouri, Texas Tech, or some of you have Missouri, UNCW. Some of you might like Drake. I think we all kind of liked Missouri. So who do we think's making the Sweet 16 out of here then?
10 toes down for JD Toppin. We're going to Sweet 16. Thank you, sir.
That's where I am as well. I love Texas Tech. Dusty?
Well, yeah, it's either Missouri or Wilmington.
Uh-huh.
We're going to keep running that train. Missouri lays an egg to an inferior opponent, and the Seahawks continue on for a
Let's go,
14 seed Sweet 16 run.
It should be noted when Princeton upset Arizona,
gosh.
they did beat Missouri the next round. So they've been known to do that before.
That's a good point. I just ran through all of my sound effects there on the sound pad. So that just put the Seahawks in the Sweet 16. Crazy.
Thank you.
Does anyone St. John's Sweet 16? It feels like that's where we're going. Yes.
I think it will depend on Arkansas's health. But
okay.
I do think St. John's is their team in general. Arkansas has been chaos all year. But we need chaos in this game. That's all I know.
Yes.
I need a double tech between the 2 coaches at half court. I need them yelling at each other when one's out of the coach's box. I don't even care what happens in the game. I just need to see that.
That'd be amazing. Let's go over to the East region, top right quadrant.
Wait, I'm St. John's as well, by the way.
Okay, my apologies. I'm sorry.
Good.
Duke, Mississippi State, Chris Jan's teams are tough to play against. Cooper Flag, maybe not fully healthy.
You want to finish up the West since we already finished up the South?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I should have finished up the West. My apologies.
Thank you for keeping me. This is a lot. So, hey,
yeah.
We're in this together.
Thank you for keeping me on this. So, okay. This is my only chalk region so far then for the most part. So I got Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, St. John's. Obviously, Dusty thinks the Seahawks of UNC Wilmington are going to be here, but you never know. Things get weird. I think this is where Maryland's luck runs out. I think Florida's guards are just too tough. What do you think, Nick?
I'm with you. I have chalk so far, and everyone's going with Florida, St. John's, and this is when Texas Tech and Maryland crashed the party. Maryland mixed their Elite Eight for their first time in 2002.
Ooh.
Again, I want St. John's, Florida as much as anyone, but they're going to crash the party. and then Maryland goes to the Final Four for the first time since 2002. I cannot believe I had Maryland in the Final Four, but screw it. Why not?
Oh, my
It can't all
gosh.
be chalk. It can't be all be
They
chalk.
can't all be chalk. You're right. I'll just go ahead and say it. I got Florida playing Texas Tech, and I got Florida making it to the Final Four. I love this Florida team. They are so fun. Dusty, what do you got?
I have Florida St. John's, which is another part of that's because of UNC Wilmington's run's going to end.
Oh, come on.
And then this Florida team, if you remember preseason, I've talked about this. I said they're going to lay an egg all year. They've done nothing to prove me wrong, and they have seemed like the best team in the country for the last 2 months. So I think it's a dream run for them right now, and Florida in the Final Four to have an all-SEC matchup.
Just remember, St. John's, Michigan State, not ranked to start the season, top 2 seed. We've never had that make it to a Final Four, so that goes against St. John's and Michigan State. So if you're picking them for a Final Four, you're picking against kind of the history and the numbers. All right, let's now hop over to the top right quadrant, which is the East region. Is Duke, can we put them in the Sweet 16? I know Dusty says no. Dusty, you like the Bulldogs, Mississippi State?
Again, this one where it comes down to Cooper Flag.
Huh?
Oh, he's thinking about it.
He is.
I said something about Josh Hubbard showing the world who he is. This has a lot to do with Cooper Flag, but I'll go with the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Big upset there.
Okay, you went full circle after beefing with them all year. Now you're picking an upset,
Yeah,
dude.
see,
Yes.
I was just playing them the whole time.
The long con.
All right, Nick, I'm going with Duke. I think this is where it ends for Mississippi State, as much as I would love to see the Bulldogs win here.
Right, like it seems like these 1 seeds are so good. Or not so good, but I feel good about all of them.
They are so
Yeah.
good.
That means probably one of them get picked off. I'm not picking
Right.
this one though. So Duke goes to Sweet 16. Shout
All right.
Josh Hubbard though.
Arizona, Liberty, what do we think?
Dan Altman somehow makes another Sweet 16.
Oh, my
I'll go
gosh.
Oregon. Yeah, I don't
No.
feel good about it.
Yeah, Oregon, Arizona, that's just 2 teams that have no business being where they should be right now. Yeah. I've got Liberty. I got Liberty in the Sweet 16. There's another one of my double-digit seeds. So I got San Diego and Liberty in the Sweet 16. I love their guards, and I love Matheny. I think he's awesome. Dusty?
I told Arizona to kick rocks back in early December for the start of their season.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they haven't really made many turning runs since the late 90s, but I will take them into the Sweet 16 here.
All right. So we continue to work with Arizona. Do we like John Tonje in Wisconsin in the Sweet 16 here? I do.
I do. Oh, I do. I do.
Yeah. As much as it pains me to say it, I think Wisconsin's the real deal. I think they're really, really good.
I want to pick VCU so badly. I've blamed them all year, but
yeah,
I just cannot get there. Wisconsin's in the Sweet 16.
All right. And we get an all-SEC matchup here. Vanderbilt, Alabama, or some may have St. Mary's here. Are we going with the Tide to play the Wisconsin Badgers in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, the same reason I'd St. Mary's. And I would love, again, I know different styles. Maybe St. Mary's can be the team that slows Alabama down, but I'd love to dare them to try.
I've seen the story before. St. Mary's gets smoked around 32. Alabama says Sweet 16. Prove me wrong, Gales.
As much as I want to see Vanderbilt win, I would love to see St. Mary's Alabama play. Like that would be like 2 incredible different styles competing in that. So, all right, to the Sweet 16. No chance Arizona or Oregon go to the Elite Eight, right? Nick?
Oregon, baby.
Oh,
quack, 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 quack. Jackson Shellstat. They do this all the time. They make some weird runs. Oregon Elite Eight.
I've watched too much Oregon this year. They're so dull offensively. They're solid defensively, but they just no. Yeah. Well, I mean, Puddle's in an Elite Eight. That would be great. So,
Biddle, hey, you like white big men? Maybe Biddle's the better white big man over Flag. That's out. Give me Nate Biddle.
Dusty?
Arizona continues the overrun.
Oh,
I mean, obviously, they get to skip out on Duke in mine. So, they handle Mississippi State.
I feel like we all hate our bracket now with where it is. I'm taking Duke.
I'm so mad.
I'm taking Duke here. I have to do it. Wisconsin, Alabama. I'm going to go Bama. I don't want to, but I need something. I need something to look at here. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm taking the Crimson Tide to the Elite Eight. And I'm going to take Alabama to the Final Four. I'm doing it. I needed a non-1 seed. there's my team. It's going to be the Crimson Tide. Nick?
We're the same way, Robbie. I have Alabama going to Elite Eight versus Oregon and going to second straight Final Four. I think Nelson's going to be fine. I think it was precautionary. Yeah. That being said, if Nelson's out, this could change. But nope, Alabama Final Four, pencil in.
Dusty?
I have Alabama losing to Wisconsin. It's probably my least favorite Big Ten team against one of my favorite SEC teams, so that's not where my heart will be. But I just feel like Alabama during this last few years of runs have just lost a term again that I thought they had no business losing. And not that it's a first round upset, but it's big games where I feel like they are the better team and don't come everything. And then I have Wisconsin beating Arizona against the Final Four.
Wisconsin in the Final Four for Dusty Mills.
Wow.
Amazing.
Look at that.
All right.
I hate all my picks already.
To
Perfect.
the bottom half, to the bottom right quadrant, that is the Midwest region. Let's start with Houston and Gonzaga. Here's my shocker. I think Gonzaga keeps going to the Sweet 16.
Wow.
Oh, we got to find a 1 seed that's not going to make it to the Sweet 16. It happens almost every single year. I think this is the best Houston team that Kelvin Sampson has had, and somehow Gonzaga is going to figure it out, and Mark Few is going to beat Kelvin Sampson. I have Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. Nick?
I think I'd pick Gonzaga versus almost every other 1 seed because I'm with you that 1 seeds usually lose earlier than we think. That being said, like an idiot, I have all 4 1 seeds making the Sweet 16.
Dusty?
I have Houston. This Houston team is just even again slow start. Really, they didn't really have any quad 1 wins early on.
Yeah,
and they have just turned it up in a horrifying way. So I have Houston over Gonzaga and then that Sweet 16 run.
All right. As much as I want to see Purdue in a Sweet 16 playing in Indianapolis, it's not happening. Clemson's the better team. Clemson's going to bully Purdue. Clemson's the better defensive team. They're going to slow down what Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn can do. The Ian Shefflin, Trey Kaufman-Renn matchup is going to be awesome. I'll be honest. I think it stops. I think the run stops for Purdue here. I would love to have them in a Sweet 16 because then all bets are off at that point, and I'm feeling great. But I think Clemson gets it done here against the Boilermakers. Nick?
This could be a preview of future IU versus Purdue head coach in Brownwell versus Matt Painter. Robbie, I think Boilers going to the Sweet 16. I just kind of like it how – first of all, I just can't – I think this Clemson Brownwell thing's going to hang over their heads. I really do. I think it's possible, Robbie. I somehow have Purdue in the Sweet 16, Robbie. Let's do it.
All right. Dusty?
You may not see Purdue in Indianapolis, but you know who does in their heart and mind?
No.
Braden Smith.
Okay.
Purdue has plenty of talent. Clemson's just kind of an up and down team to me anyways. I don't mean playing style. I'm saying the Boilers will get to Indianapolis.
I love how Dusty's just heel turned on all of his picks at the start of the season. It's been fantastic. Creighton, I'm back. Braden Smith, we're back.
Mississippi State, I'm back.
Mississippi State, we're back.
Wisconsin, Continue. I'm back.
Wisconsin, we're back. I love it. Love all of it.
I've been studying for months. I've been educated.
Are we all with Kentucky going to the Sweet 16?
Gosh.
I know it's got to be scary.
I only do because I really don't trust Illinois.
That's kind of where I am too. Is I don't trust Illinois and I don't trust Texas and Xavier at this point either. So that's why I'm kind of with Kentucky.
I think the committee, honestly, I know they didn't actually do this, even though they're including. So maybe they did, but felt bad for Big Blue Nation. It was like if we're going to give them a 3 seed, let's give them a nice little path to at least get to the second weekend. So I do think we get Purdue and Kentucky in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know I'm going to eat crow for saying this at some point. I do think it's about as good as a draw Kentucky could have gotten this pod. I think that's why I made Sweet 16. Sweet 16. Sorry, I'm not been here in a while, so I can't say the word.
I think Kentucky is going to make it here. I'm just rooting for them for you guys. I truly am. I want our teams to have success. Now, I don't want to see our teams playing against each other in the Elite Eight because that's going to be the worst thing ever. And I don't have it because I have Clemson, but please, dear Lord, do not do this to me. Please don't do this to me.
Kentucky, Purdue, Elite Eight, and Indy would be insane.
No.
Would be insane.
Please, no.
I truly want to see what the crowd disparity would be.
Right. That would be fascinating. Yeah. I would be, I think I would be 65-35 Kentucky fans if I had to guess.
I was going to say 60-40. I would assume.
I think you can really tell me anything. That'd be fascinating.
That'd probably be the most interesting thing about that. So different for me. I think Gonzaga goes to the Elite Eight here. I think this is everyone doubting Gonzaga.
Robbie, you went that bottom pod.
Oh, sorry. I went ahead of myself because I'm picking UCLA over Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee makes it to the Sweet 16. I think they got hot against the right teams in the SEC tournament, and there's just something about this Tennessee team I just do not like. And I think UCLA, they are tough SOBs, and Mick Cronin is going to want to stay in the Midwest and keep coaching and winning. So I have the Bruins going to the Sweet 16.
I have Tennessee losing in Rupp Arena as well. I think maybe this is wishful thinking as I'm wearing my Kentucky shirt right now. I have Utah State. I believe so. I can't remember who I picked.
Yeah, you have Utah State.
Why not? All the Mountain West boys, one of the 1 or 2 seeds is going to go down. I don't have one yet, so Tennessee falls in Rupp Arena, and I have a big smile on my face.
Dusty?
My lead 8, I have Houston knocking off Purdue, and this would be the even worse night for us. Houston being Purdue, and right after that, Tennessee being Kentucky. I really don't like the phrase of it's hard to beat 3 teams this season because to me, once the ball tips, the players aren't thinking about that the whole time. So I'd be happy with the Sweet 16 on. Yes, it pains me to click the check mark here for Tennessee, but I'll say Tennessee versus Houston in the Elite 8 going to Indy, and I have Houston going to the Final Four to play Ole Wisconsin.
I have Gonzaga, UCLA in the Elite 8.
Yeah, I like
that. I have UCLA beating Kentucky, and I don't. This is just a gut feeling. I have UCLA in the Final Four.
Wow. And they've had some
I don't know.
They've had some memorable tournament games too.
They have. They really have. And I think they want to get one on Gonzaga as well, especially since they lost that one to Julian. Was it Julian Strother that hit that shot? Or no, it was
I think it was Strother.
Was it Strother? Okay. Yeah, and that Elite 8 and that Sweet 16 game in Las Vegas a couple years back, UCLA would love another shot at them. There's just watching that UCLA team play Purdue a little bit earlier this year in Mackey Arena. After watching the game, I was like, man, this UCLA team is really good, and they don't wow you in any real one thing, but there's just something about them I like it. So that's my UCLA is my Final Four team. Nick, who are you taking?
First of all, Crab, I think I might rather lose to Troy than Tennessee in the Sweet 16. That would be horrific, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have Houston over Purdue. I guess in this sense, I have Kentucky over Utah State, which I'd be just a Sweet 16 game. That would be Anxiety Bowl. And then I believe in this Houston team. This is the team that gets them back to Final Four. Houston over Kentucky. Sorry, Kentucky. I can't pick Kentucky win it all. That'd be ridiculous.
Right.
Can't do that to the team. I believe in Houston with me in the crowd crying. Houston goes to San Antonio.
Wait, so Robbie, in your journey where you have UCLA go now, has Mick Cronin come back west yet now, or is he still just kind of going straight south to San Antonio?
Well, so he's staying in the Midwest, but now he has to go to Texas. So he's kind of stuck in the middle. Yeah, is he going to – well, I don't know. He may stop off and check in Cincinnati, see what's going on there just for a little bit. Just
3 weeks of packing?
Yeah, just to see his old stomping grounds. That's it.
I want Mick to make the Final Four and then still complain about the travel schedules.
Please. Yeah. That's what we all need. We all need that. All right, so my Final Four that I have it right now, I have Auburn versus Florida, Alabama versus UCLA.
SEC lobby.
Right? And I have this is the SEC NCAA tournament. I have Florida, Alabama in the national championship, and I have Jake's Florida Gators. I said it last week on the pod. Chomp, baby. There's something about this team. It stuck to me even before they won in the SEC tournament. I think this team is my national champion. So I have Florida beating Alabama 82-77 to win the national championship. Nick, your Final Four national champion.
Real quick on Florida, before I did my bracket, I wanted to pick them to win a natty, but everyone seems like they're picking Florida right now.
Everyone's picking Florida. Yes.
It's horrifying. Jake, I'm rooting for you. I hope this doesn't happen, but I have Auburn over the Maryland Terrapins.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
And then I have Houston knocking off Alabama. I just think Alabama's luck runs out. And a rematch from a great game earlier this year, by the way, Houston, Alabama. And I said it earlier, I think they finally break through this year. I think Houston, they have more shot makers than they've had in the past. Kellen Sampson breaks through and wins the national championship this year.
Wow. Houston doing it all. Dusty, who you picking?
I have Auburn beating Florida. I know Florida kind of ran out of the gym in Auburn a little over a month ago. Same thing. I think I'm jaded by everyone picking Florida, even though last time that happened. Well, no, I guess 14, everyone picked them and they lost to UConn. So I have Auburn winning that. Houston, Wisconsin. I'm with Nick. Houston's just a wagon this year. which has my national championship matchup. But the two teams I've said since probably January, really, when conference play started, I thought were the best two teams in the country at that point. So either Kelvin or Pearl, that one of them gets to break through the seal. I'll just go War Eagle.
Auburn, overall number 1 seed, is Dusty's pick to win the national champion. So there you have it. There's our picks for the national championship. It's going to be a fun ride, folks. There's one last thing I want to mention. So I threw out a bunch of tidbits throughout the show. I forgot to mention this Arizona tidbit. Arizona has lost to a team seeded at least 4 spots below them in each of the last 6 tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, it was Clemson. They were the 2. Clemson was the 6. Then it was Princeton, Houston, Buffalo, Xavier, Wichita State. Guess who Arizona plays in the round of 32, in my opinion? It's going to be the 12 seed Liberty.
Damn, that's a heck of a tidbit.
All good things come to an end.
See what happens. All right, guys. Any last news and notes? Any shout outs you want to go before we get on out of here, Dusty?
One thing I'm eager to kind of track during the tournament is, at what point is it a amazing season or a bust of a tournament for the SEC as a whole?
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Great question. It's hard to say, because I think the SEC just has been so dominant and such a media darling. Do they continue this run? It's a great question.
At the very least, they probably need one Final Four team. Probably.
Oh, yeah, you better. Yeah, at least one, if not 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a storyline we only touch on. But yeah, I was shocked that Texas and Oklahoma both got in going into the weekend. So that was crazy. On that note about the SEC, as this, I think has a chance to be the chalkiest tournament we've had in a while. I don't know why. I think that's just my guts telling me. But usually that means chaos is afoot.
That's what we would love. We love some chaos. Either way, however it shapes out, it's going to be a fantastic NCAA men's basketball tournament. Enjoy it all, my friends. We'll have rapid reaction pods and other stuff coming up throughout the week, so make sure you stay tuned with what we've got going forward. We will have a lot of fun, and it's going to be a great run as we take the ride all the way to San Antonio for the men's Final Four. Any shout-outs to wrap this thing up, Dusty?
I did not get a shout-out today, so shout out to Charles Barkley for Auburn.
Nick?
Shout out to my dad, Brian Mills, for driving home Sunday morning. We were not 100%. So I'm glad he was though. The rest of us were not. So shout out to him. Shout out for always taking us to Nashville. Heck of a time.
I'll also throw another shout out to Brian Mills, inducted into the Noblesville Schools Hall of Fame, which was a pretty big honor. So congratulations to Brian Mills.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn incredible right there. So very cool. My shout out is to my lovely wife, who has to endure me for the next, it may end quickly for the next 3 days. So we don't know. But she was with me after the loss to St. Peter's. She was with me after the loss to Fairleigh Dickinson. She coddled me, held me, caressed me as I was dealt a terrible hand. But then she went with us to the Final Four and had the most amazing time. She has a theory on Braden Smith and his shoes. If Braden Smith is wearing black shoes, keep an eye on how Purdue plays. Just throwing that out there. Just
good or bad? Is that what you're gonna say
I can't reveal what actually happens, because then it's not going to happen. So I'm just letting you know. If you see him wearing black shoes, see how the team plays. So there you go. All right. That'll do it for our big bracket show of the D1 and Done pod. We hope you enjoy a fantastic NCAA men's basketball tournament. We will be back with rapid reactions and other responses and recaps for games that we have coming up. Fellas, March is here, and we'll see you next time.